We've got 13 bowl games spread out over the next 2 days, not to mention NFL spread out over both Saturday and Sunday. I have been told that Mark Zinno has quite the rant coming up, and I was told that by none other than Mark Zinno, as a matter of fact. So I shudder to think what we are just seconds away from here on the Morning Wager. By the way, thank you to all of you, the viewers, for making yesterday's show, I believe, the second most viewed Morning Wager. I'm going to be speaking with my inside contacts at Nielsen, Zinno, to get the exact numbers here. But it was certainly one of the most watched editions of the Morning Wager. And I believe you are now about to lay it on us why this show is so popular and with one of your trademark rants. I don't even know what you're about to go off about, but there's a lot of directions you can take this.
I will say this much. Thank God this show is entertaining because, again, we have not been hot lately. We have been it turned to winter. It turned to December, and we are colder than a well digger's ass right now. So, yeah.
That's cold.
Hey, by the way, everybody, just so for clarity's sake, for all the people who jumped in the comments yesterday to tell us Holstein has been out. No, he wasn't out. He was officially ruled out yesterday in the Pitt game. And what a disgraceful call that was. Like, I said to BP after we gave it out, and I actually posted it as a client play at 24.5. And then the line started moving down. Then Holstein was announced out, and it was against a MAC school. It's like, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? Closing line value, third string quarterback against a bad MAC school. Like, oh. And of course, they put up 80 points in the game. So, guys, sometimes you're just wrong. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it was a bad call. It was off. It was bad. I don't have any other real justification for it. I thought the logic was sound and the handicap was good going into the thing, and it just didn't work out that way. So, Pitt Toledo first half under was embarrassingly bad and wrong. So do the opposite. Remember, that's what we say, do the opposite. But again, thank God this show is entertaining because and last night too with Seattle. Oh my God.
Hey, the first quarter bet won.
Yes. We got the first quarter DGen bet in. And that was the only thing we got right about it. Seattle team total over. Seattle minus 3.5. I mean, just gross.
I told you the Bears. I told you they were going to end up being the right side.
You know what?
And you know what? You know what? And I was too cowardly. And I was too cowardly to give it out because everyone made me feel like an idiot for liking the Bears.
You are a big vagine sometimes, and I would tell you that. I tell everybody. So obviously, you guys know this if you watch the show every day. That BP and I have a conversation every morning before the show starts. BP and I talk every day. He's like the worst relationship I've ever had, but the best relationship I've ever had. Multiple times a day, which is also scary. So, like, if I ever actually do get in a relationship again, like, I wonder if I would talk to the person I'm with more than Brian Power, because Lord knows Brian Power's wife doesn't want me to talk to him as much as that. Well, actually, she probably does. She doesn't want to talk to you. She lets me do it.
She doesn't want to talk to me. She's done with me. I just live here.
But he gets on the phone, and the first thing he says to me is yesterday, he says, I like the Bears. I'm like, well, I like Seattle. And all of a sudden, he was conflicted. What's that? How many times we talk each day? I'm thinking you see that.
Yes,
yeah, it's a lot.
Oh, hold on. It's the Mark Zinno to wife ratio on my recent call is 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 3. 8 to 3.
Good to know I'm winning. I'd like to be in first.
Yes.
So
yes.
Anyway, you did like the Bears. You were right. I was wrong. You're the best. I'm the worst. You're good looking. I'm not very attractive. So it was yesterday was not good. Although, thank God for Bowling Green getting to 31, and thank God for buying taking the highest number. Yeah, yes. I mean the main line was 31.5. I went to 30.5 just because, and it paid the minus 140 just because I'm like, you know what, it's a kind of a key number at 31, and lo and behold. What did they land on? 31. Otherwise, it would have been an 0 for day for yours truly, which seems to be my betting life and dating life are converging. Nothing is going well.
Boy.
Everything is losing.
Okay. Well. So anyway, Mark Zinno just gave you a blow by blow of his last 24 hours there, everybody. I'm going to tell you what my yesterday looked like for the clients. I gave out a Premier League play, it lost, and then I spent the rest of the day pouting like a woman. Okay, there you go. That's all I got to say about that. Look, we're moving on. We're moving on to the weekend, is what we're doing. And Mark Zinno,
by the way, in the future, listen to us because we know what we're talking about.
Yes, that's and smash that like button if you enjoy this content.
There you go. Please
Okay.
do that.
So this is what we're doing. The double play this week for the weekend. We're taking a look at the NFL. Mark's going to get you covered for Saturday. I got something for Sunday, and then we've got a best bet in the bowl games. Again, there's 13 bowl games spread out across Friday and Saturday. We've got an early one for you on Saturday. Stay tuned. But Mark, you never shock me, really. There's nothing you can do that shocks me. I am always ready for anything. But what you are about to tell the people is a little shocking because I know you hate the Cincinnati Bengals and you really hate Zach Taylor, their head
Well,
coach.
him,
You've
yes,
ripped
yeah.
him all year. Something
You
you were
like
right
to say,
about, and
this is
I
what
was
he
wrong
like to-
about. Yeah, something you were right about, and I will tip my cap to you. Okay. At the beginning of the year, you told me I was full of crap that the Cincinnati Bengals could win the AFC North. They are not going to win the AFC North. They're still technically alive to get a playoff spot. And oh boy, is this a big game against the team they're chasing, Denver. Cincinnati, they're better than their record. Okay. Yes, they're poorly coached. Yes, the roster's not deep. They're better than their record. And
You're being
Mark Zinno,
generous.
despite your hatred for the Cincinnati Bengals, you are going to shock us all and say to bet them on Saturday against the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, well, do the opposite, right? Now that you said everything I needed to say, yeah, I don't like the Bengals. I think they're a poorly coached team. I think their roster stinks after the first three guys of Burrow, Chase, and Hendrickson. But I got to tell you, the one thing that tipped me off in this game, and the numbers even come down because it opened at 3.5 and now it's down to 3. So which means people are betting the Broncos here. And so, I remember telling Brian Power, like when I saw this game a week ahead, I said, "Oh, I'm absolutely going to hit the Broncos. I'm going to hammer the Broncos," just because I was sort of blinded by my disgust for Zach Taylor and the Cincinnati Bengals. But there was one thing that tipped me off here, and I often look at this. And BP, I'm kind of curious your thoughts. I will always correlate. I will always correlate a side to a total for a reason. Right? The numbers are what they are. I've said it a million times over. The numbers are what they are for a reason. Odds makers are telling you what the numbers are for a reason. And when I see this total that opened up at 47.5, that around 47 or 47.5, I would have been staying on Denver. But we're seeing 49.5s. There are 50s out there in this game for the total. And let me ask you a question. If this thing is going to go over, who does it favor? Clearly it favors the Bengals. Like, as much
Cincinnati.
as I hate the
Yep.
Bengals, I can't deny the offense and how good it's been. I can't deny that if Joe Burrow was wearing a different jersey, he'd be in the MVP conversation with the numbers that he has, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they are that electric. But there's two things here. The offense favors Cincinnati. And do I really believe that Bo Nix is a guy who is going to be able to go out there and go and win a shootout type game? The answer really is no. Like, the one blowout win they had was over the Falcons. That doesn't count. They got into a shootout game with the Browns, which is another game that, doesn't really, I mean, it was a high scoring affair against the Chargers that they lost, right? This team is better off winning low scoring games than high score. I mean, they beat the Raiders and Saints pretty handily. These are bad defenses. I just, when I look at the offenses that can play with them this year, play for play, I would include Tampa in that, but Tampa back in week 3 was a version of themselves that they aren't right now. But really, the only other offense they've played that's legit has been the Ravens, and they got destroyed by them. They haven't played, even the Chiefs aren't a legit offense. They haven't played a legit offense like this and one of this caliber other than the Ravens, and it went in the Ravens' favor. I think this game can get away from them pretty quickly. My biggest fear is that Sean Payton could outcoach Zach Taylor blindfolded with one hand tied behind his back and in a closet. So I am nervous about that, but my gut here tells me with the total that high and a 3, not a 3.5, I can lay it with Cincinnati, and I'm going to do so.
Mark Zinno throwing us for a loop by taking the Bengals against the Broncos. I, too, for my half of the double play, will be throwing you for a loop. You talk about un-Brian Power like. How about teasing down a couple of road favorites against atrocious teams? I'm the guy who always tries to find that, silver lining with these horrible teams. But Zinno, I think we have to admit this year in the NFL, a big reason why favorites are covering at such a high rate is the bottom 7 teams in this league absolutely stink. And we will be teasing. They suck. Okay. Well, people like it in the comment section when I do the dramatic stink. That's why I did that. Okay. You should pay attention
Think.
to the comment section. Please
Thank.
comment down below with
Oh,
your thoughts. Anyway,
good.
all right. There are two teams that we will be looking to fade, and all we need basically is straight up wins. What if I told you we only had to lay minus 120 and ask for the Giants and Browns to both lose on Sunday? I think that's a pretty good deal. So the Colts are at the Giants. This is the first leg of a teaser that I am going to give out for Sunday. Just tease the Colts down to 1.5, guys. The New York Giants are absolutely abysmal. This team has given up. They have no hope. I don't know why they would even bother showing up to the field.
Can you say it the right way? Can you say it the right way? The New York Giants are ass. They are complete ass.
Demon or ass. All right, there you go.
Yes.
Now, the Indianapolis Colts, yes, the game got close last week with the Titans, but they were up 38-7 at one point. And remember 2 weeks ago, the Colts Broncos, that atrocity when the Colts gave up 30 points despite allowing less than 200 total yards. Jonathan Taylor fumbles before he crosses the goal line. The Colts should have won that game too. So I think, Zinno, the final scores, each of the last 2 weeks for the Colts, very misleading. They're not losing to the Giants in a spot where they need to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. So tease the Colts from 7.5 down to 1.5 for the first leg of the teaser. The second leg of our teaser will be the Dolphins minus 6.5 down to -0.5. So they just need to beat the Cleveland Browns. And beating the Cleveland Browns should not be hard. Why? Because Dorian Thompson-Robinson is their quarterback. Mark, you mentioned moments ago how bad this Bengals defense can be at times. DTR couldn't do anything against that defense. That is sad. I mean, I watch that game. Obviously, it's on here locally. I watch most Browns games when I have some people over. Everyone always wants to watch it. They could do nothing. This team stinks. They've given up 2. They've mailed it in. Miami also needs to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. So, again, kind of a just win teaser here with the Colts and Dolphins.
Aren't you a little bit worried about Tua in the cold weather?
No. You know why?
Oh, why?
I live in Cleveland. It just so happens. Okay. And it's not cold. It's not
Why
cold.
is it not cold in Cleveland? It's freezing in New York.
It's gonna be 52 degrees tomorrow.
Oh.
Here.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that's not cold. So the Dolphins get a break. That is a very good follow-up by you. Yes.
But also DTR, I don't think DTR has ever led an offense to 20 points in a game. Right? Is that right?
I don't think DTR has ever gotten a first down. Okay. I mean, this man is very bad.
I hope he's gotten the first base.
He's I hope so too, because I don't think he's doing too much next year. I think they're just basically quitting on the season. So
he did go to UCLA. I'm pretty sure he got the first base and second base. And
yes, absolutely. All right. Colts and Dolphins. That's my teaser to go along with Mark Zinno taking the Bengals on Saturday. Both those games that I talked about are on Sunday. This weekend, Mark, do you have any big plans for the people at WT.buzz/MZ? I know sometimes you throw it in my face. You don't want to promote. Yesterday, you had me in tears. Because it's what we're supposed to do.
Yes. Okay. And really, and do you think I actually believe what we're supposed to do is actually what we should do?
Okay. Please. I value my job. Let's not go down that route. Okay.
I'm just,
I
I value my job too. I like employment too. I just thoroughly disagree with some of the processes. That's all. Nonetheless, hashtag keep firing. Okay. What else can I tell you?
YOLO is Mark Zinno's strategy this weekend.
YOLO, I might just go to the NBA. Okay. And look there. There are no college basketball games, which I'm ready for. But yeah. So we got some NBA games tonight. Yes, guys, I'll have plays out. The bowl game, while we're talking about this, before I start pumping my package, the bowl games today are a real tough look. You and I were discussing this, and let's just give it a minute here, because I think they'd rather hear more about bowl games than, sometimes I can bring them up my screen here, than my package, which they don't care about. Of the 5 bowl games today, my best feel, I think Georgia Tech wins today. And they're only laying 3. That would be my best feel, my best look today. on the games. Guys, I honestly don't know if I'm making a client play. It's just it's one of those things where I know the program well because I cover them here. Both of these teams really want to win a bowl game badly, right? And it's
Yes.
an interesting matchup that they put together because it's Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt, two teams that are sort of like little brother.
They care.
Vanderbilt, the SEC, and Georgia Tech in the ACC and to Georgia. But this is a really underrated Georgia Tech team, and I think that remember who they beat this year? They beat Miami. They went toe to toe with Georgia in a game they absolutely should have won. I think they're flat out better than Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's very good, but they're also, I think, Vanderbilt has tailed off since the apex of their season. I still think Georgia Tech is sort of on the rise going forward. So I would lay the 3 with Georgia Tech.
Ooh.
Best feel for today.
Vandy is 7-2 ATS as a dog with 4 outright upsets. I will throw that in. And if you'd like to hear more about Friday's 5 bowl games, I would implore you to check out the Power 5, also available here on WagerTalk TV. It's just a way to cross
Yeah.
promote there. Okay.
It's not
Let's move
crushing.
to Saturday.
You're taking away from me. I'm not part of the Power 5. If I was part of the Power 5, I would absolutely promote it with you. Why don't you make me part of the Power 5?
Would you like to be part of the Power 5?
Why not?
You're strong. You would bring the power. Can I tell you something? I always use the muscle emoji on Twitter promoting. I feel guilty doing that. I'm not strong.
I do it all the time.
I should.
I'm a big bicep flex emoji guy. I'll just put that at the end of
Well,
everything.
I know, but you
Just
are in fact strong. I'm not strong. I'm embarrassed to tell you how much I could bicep curl. It's humiliating. I don't want to say that on the airwaves. Do you know what I will
Yeah.
say though?
What's
We
that?
have a best bet for Saturday in the bowls. The Wasabi Fenway Bowl. Wasabi is something to do with
You just
computers.
walked away from what I wanted to give the people the rest of the bowl games for today. Any thoughts?
No, I told them to check out the Power 5. We're
Oh,
going to give them something we feel strongly about. Okay?
All right. Well, there we go. All right. Sorry.
11 a.m. Eastern.
God forbid.
UConn, North Carolina. Wake up early. Hey, we want to look. There's not a lot of lead time for the Friday Bowls. There's a couple games in the afternoon. Let's give them something that everybody can listen to us talk about and they can bet on tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning. North Carolina, Bill Belichick won't be coaching this game.
No, he won't.
Mac Brown won't be coaching this game.
Nope.
Freddie Kitchens will be coaching this game. Freddie Kitchens
sucks.
used to be coach of the Cleveland Browns, and he didn't have a clue what he was doing the entire time.
No.
And we're going to take Jim Mora Jr. and UConn in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. I looked it up here in the old Phil Steele magazine. Zinno, here, there it is. Okay.
You don't really like Phil Steele, from what I understand.
Well, he's fine. He has a nice magazine. UConn has not won a bowl game since 2009. It was the PapaJohns.com Bowl. That was the last time UConn won a bowl. I thought
that was
Papa
probably the last
John's
time.
was overrated pizza.
Probably the last time their pizza was edible. Their pizza sucks. But anyway,
it was terrible. I remember being stoned in college and saying,
about
you know
the
what?
only
I don't
time
want
we
any
did
Papa John's. Yeah, I was like, I don't, I was like, I don't even want Papa John's. What kind of ringing endorsement is that for your pizza that a stoned college student would say, I'm good?
Yeah. The other part of this
Thoughts?
bowl that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's terrible. I'm a pizza snob. I'm from New York, so I don't eat bad pizza ever. My kids are like, Dad, can we have Little Caesars? I'm like, no, I can disown you and you can move out. I mean, then you can have it. No. Other than that, you cannot have Little Caesars pizza in my house. So get out. Anyway, the other part that's interesting about this bowl is it's going to be played at Fenway Park over there by Harvard Yard in Lansdowne Street, which is a short hop, skip, and a jump away from Storrs, Connecticut. Do you really think the North Carolina fan base, in which they have sort of sold on this regime, is going to travel all the way up to Boston to go watch this game? It's going to be a heavy UConn crowd, a de facto home game for the Huskies here. Not only are we getting 2 points from North Carolina, or 2.5, I think Connecticut wins the game outright. They're going to be much more motivated here. Again, North Carolina is turning everything over. Guys don't necessarily have to fight for jobs per se in this scenario here. But and UConn doesn't really have a bunch of opt-outs or transfer portal guys, right? They have their DN Price Yates and their running back Darrell Robinson. Those guys are gone. But other than that, they are much shorter on the list of transfer portal guys than UNC and opt-out guys for UNC. So you get a Jim Mora guy who wants to win his first bowl game as a head coach. Everything here points to UConn, so we are going to take the Huskies in a non-basketball. This would be a great basketball matchup, but it's not. It's football. It's football. And we would take UConn in both those instances, in basketball and in football. So we're doing that.
Absolutely. So there you go. In what ESPN is almost assuredly going to turn into a 3-hour infomercial for Bill Belichick. Bet UConn, everybody. Bet UConn. That is the way to go. We went a little long today, I thought. I'm getting along.
Yeah, and if you would like to hear about any of the other bowl games, just hit me up on Twitter at Mark Zinno or on Instagram, and I'll give you my thoughts since Brian Power didn't want to talk about today's bowl games at all. He just wants you to go to the Power 5. You can have a conversation with me.
I've talked about them already.
You might want to give the people the information here, is all I'm saying. You could give the people the information here.
I already forgot it. All right.
Oh, you're a jerk.
There we go. Okay. I think that's going to do it. By the way, I have a 5% play still available if I want to piss Zinno off even more. They don't come around often. They don't make them like us.
Those are good. Guys, his 5% plays are actually worthwhile buying.
Unlike, thank you. I appreciate it. That was nice.
Unlike Penn State and SMU, who should have gone over the total and didn't go over the total. And
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. That whole thing.
All right. If you have not already commented down below, please do so now. I think we're done.
And remember, if you comment with something that I don't like, I'm going to comment back at you and tell you you're wrong. So there is that. Ooh. Like
okay, there it is. I started dancing. Yes, I ran out of material. Make sure you're subscribed to the WagerTalk YouTube channel, and we will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Let's cash some tickets.